Adaise stared at her phone screen in the staff room of Graceland Secondary School, a half-eaten meat pie forgotten on the table before her. The fluorescent lights hummed above, and somewhere down the corridor, students rehearsed a dance for the upcoming inter-house sports competition. Everything was ordinary. Everything was wrong. She didn't have children. Her fingers trembled as she checked the sender's number. Unsaved, unfamiliar. She read the message again, each word a small knife. Daddy, school, tomorrow. The meat pie turned to ash in her mouth. Adaisi, are you coming for the staff meeting? Mrs. Okonko poked her head through the doorway, her gele slightly askew from teaching energetic JSS 1 students all morning. Yes, coming. The words emerged from somewhere far away. She typed with shaking hands. Sorry, I think you have the wrong number. The response came within seconds. Oh, sorry, Auntie, is this not Uncle Chike's phone? This is Grace. We met at Christmas. Christmas. 6 weeks ago. Chike had traveled to the village alone. His mother was ill, he'd said, and she shouldn't waste her holidays sitting by an old woman's bedside when she could visit her own family in Enugu. She'd found it thoughtful at the time, noble even. Which Christmas, she typed back, though she already knew, already felt the foundation of her 12-year marriage cracking beneath her feet like dried harmattan earth. Last Christmas in December, Auntie, at Daddy's house in Satellite Town. You weren't there, Sha, but Daddy showed us your picture. You're very fine. The staff room tilted. Adaise gripped the edge of the table, her wedding ring catching the light. That simple gold band Chike had placed on her finger at Our Lady of Perpetual Help Church, while her mother wept tears of joy and his relatives showered them with naira notes. Mrs. Okonko was calling her name again, but the sound came through water. Satellite Town. They lived in Surulere. Chike walked in Victoria Island. What business did he have in Satellite Town? What house? What children? She grabbed her handbag and stood, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. Ada, the meeting! Family emergency, she managed, already moving toward the door. It wasn't a lie. They'd met at a wedding, of course, that most fertile ground for future marriages. Chike had been a friend of the groom, she a cousin of the bride. He'd approached her during the reception at Sheraton, confident in his navy blue abgada, smelling of expensive cologne and ambition. You're the mathematics teacher. Emeka told me about you. Says you can make calculus sound like poetry. She laughed, flattered. And you're the engineer who is terrified of weddings. Not terrified, strategic. I only attend the ones with beautiful, intelligent women. His smile was easy, practiced. She would remember that later, how easily charm came to him, how smoothly words flowed. Their courtship had been proper, respectful. He visited her father in their compound in Enugu, brought bottles of whiskey and cartons of wine, sat through lengthy discussions about lineage and character. Her father, retired headmaster that he was, had approved. He's a serious man, Adaze, not like these boys who are looking for women to use and throw away. The wedding came 10 months later, small by Lagos standards, but dignified. They'd held it in Enugu to honor her family, though most of Chike's people claimed distance and sent representatives instead. His mother had attended, a quiet woman who'd held Adazi's hands and whispered, "Take care of my son, he's all I have." All I have. The words mocked her now as she sat in Lagos traffic, her car idling on Funshaw Williams Avenue, carbon monoxide and deceit thick in the air. The marriage had been good. Not perfect, what marriage was, but good. Chike traveled frequently for work, sometimes 2 weeks at a time. She trusted him absolutely. He called every evening when he was away, his voice warm and familiar through the phone. He sent her money for the house without her asking. He made love to her with attention and tenderness, learning the map of her body like a language he wanted to master. They tried for children, 5 years of trying, of tests and temperatures, and timed intimacy that slowly leached the joy from sex. 5 years of her mother's pointed questions and her mother-in-law's heavy sighs. 5 years of well-meaning friends suggesting prayer houses and traditional healers, of women at church laying hands on her belly and declaring breakthrough. It will happen, and if it doesn't, you are enough. You are more than enough. Lies, all of it lies. Because somewhere in Satellite Town, he had children. A daughter named Grace who sent text messages about school forms, perhaps others. The traffic moved, stopped, moved again. Adaze's hands gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles went pale, her mind spinning through memories, re-examining them for cracks. The weekends he claimed to work, the unexplained expenses she'd noticed but dismissed. Work entertainment, he'd said, and she'd believed him, because in 12 years, what reason had he given her to doubt? You are a fool, a well-educated fool. She drove past her street in Surulere, past the yellow building where their flat was, past the evening market where she bought fresh fish on Thursdays. She drove towards Satellite Town like a sleepwalker, like a woman in a dream where the logical world had dissolved into nightmare. Adaze found the house by early evening after stopping 3 times to ask for directions. Satellite Town sprawled chaotic and alive, nothing like the relative order of Surulere. She'd used the photo Grace had sent, a follow-up message with a picture of the school form. This is what we need Daddy to sign. And in the background of that photo, visible through a window, the distinctive blue gate of the house next door. I'm looking for Chike Okafor's house. Blue gate next to his house. The woman had pointed without looking up from her oil. That one? Go straight. Turn by the church. You'll see it. As if it were that simple. As if the geography of Betrayal could be mapped with ordinary directions. The house was modest. A bungalow with cream-colored walls and a small garden. Nothing grand, but well-maintained. A child's bicycle leaned against the fence. Cartoon voices drifted from inside. Some animated program. The normalcy of it all felt obscene. Adeze sat in her car across the street as the sun lowered, painting the sky in shades of copper and regret. She should leave. Should confront Chike first, give him a chance to explain. But explain what? There was no explanation that could make this make sense. No words that could rebuild what was already rubble. A woman emerged from the house. Young, younger than Adeze by perhaps 5 years. She wore a wrapper and t-shirt, her hair in a practical ponytail, her feet in plastic slippers. She looked tired, ordinary, real. She looked like someone's wife. She looked like someone's first wife. Adeze's breath caught. In her imagination, she'd pictured someone sultry, seductive, a woman who'd stolen her husband through irresistible wiles. But this woman called to children inside about bathing before dinner, her voice carrying the familiar exhaustion of mothers everywhere. This woman checked the clothes on the line, touched them for dampness, left them to finish drying in the evening air. This was not a mistress. This was a wife. 2 children appeared, a girl around 12, gangly and gap-toothed, and a boy perhaps 8, carrying a football. The girl was Grace. Adeze knew it without needing confirmation. Knew it from the shape of her face, the way she moved. She had Chike's eyes, his long fingers. The woman, the other wife, said something that made them laugh. The boy kicked his football against the fence, and his mother scolded him mildly. They went back inside together, a unit, a family. Adeze sat in her car until the street lights flickered on, until mosquitoes began their evening hunt, until her phone buzzed with Chike's customary message. On my way home, should I buy suya? She typed back, I'm at your house in Satellite Town. Then she waited. He arrived 20 minutes later, his Mercedes pulling off fast, parking at an angle that betrayed his panic. Adeze watched him through her rear view mirror, watched him sit in his car for a long moment, his head bowed over the steering wheel. Then he straightened, smoothed his shirt, and walked toward her car with the gait of a man approaching the gallows. She rolled down her window. Adeze! His voice cracked on her name. Please, let me explain. Explain? She tasted the word, bitter as unripe oranges. Yes, Chike. Explain to me how you have a whole family I knew nothing about. Explain how you have children, while I've been crying every month for 5 years, thinking I was the problem. It's not what you think. Don't insult me further by saying it's not what I think. I have eyes. I see the house. I see the woman. I see the children who have your face. Chike looked toward the house, then back at her. In the dim light, he looked older than his 41 years, the lines around his eyes deepened by shadows and shame. Can we go somewhere to talk? Please, not here. Why? Afraid your other wife will come out? Afraid the neighbors will talk? I want to talk here, Chike, right here, where all your lies live. He leaned against her car, his shoulders slumping. For a moment, she almost felt sorry for him. Almost, before she remembered that pity was wasted on men who chose deception. Her name is Ifeoma. We married 15 years ago. Traditional marriage, in Anambra. 15 years. 3 years before he'd met Adaeze. The mathematics of betrayal was simple, brutal. So when you married me, I was already married, yes. He couldn't meet her eyes. The world spun. Adaeze gripped the steering wheel for anchor. So what am I, Chike? What have I been for 12 years? You are my wife too? Don't you dare say that. You can't have 2 wives. We're not living in our grandfather's time. We married in church, before God, you and I, alone. You took vows. I took vows with her too. Traditional marriage isn't the same as white wedding. You know this. When you married me in church, you were committing bigamy. The legal word felt strange in her mouth, academic and cold when everything inside her burned. Chike's face hardened. So because we didn't go to church, Ifeoma is less my wife, her children are less my children? Is that what you're saying? I'm saying you lied to me. For 12 years, you lied every single day. You let me think I was your only wife. You let me cry about being childless when all along you had children. Do you know how that feels? Can you even imagine? I wanted to tell you. When was the right time, Chike? After 1 year? 5? 10? Were you ever going to tell me? He said nothing. The silence was its own confession. A door opened. The woman, Ifeoma, stood on the veranda, backlit by the warm glow from inside. She looked toward them, her hand shading her eyes. Then she went back inside and closed the door softly, pointedly. She knows about me. It wasn't a question. Yes. For how long? From the beginning. I told her before I married you. She understood. Understood what? That you wanted to marry another woman? That you wanted to divide yourself between 2 families? It's not so uncommon, Ada. My father had 3 wives. Many men. I don't care about many men. I care about you, the man I thought I knew, the man who promised to forsake all others. She was crying now, hot tears of rage and grief streaming down her face. Why, Chike? Why did you marry me if you already had a wife? He was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft, almost tender. Because I fell in love with you. The words landed like stones in still water, creating ripples of confusion in her anger. Because I met you and I fell in love with you, with your mind, your laugh, the way you explain things with such patience, I couldn't help myself. I thought I could make it work, give you both what you deserved. But you didn't. Her voice was hollow now, emptied of rage, filled only with desolation. You gave us both lies. You gave us half a husband. You gave me a ghost marriage. You are still my wife, Adaeze. There it was, the words that would echo in her mind for months to come. You are still my wife, as if nothing had changed, as if the ground hadn't opened beneath her feet, as if he could keep 2 women in separate houses like books on different shelves, each unaware of how the other story read. No, I don't know what I am, but I know what I'm not. I'm not someone who shares. She started her engine. Where are you going? Home, my home, not yours, not anymore. Adaeze, please. But she was already pulling away, leaving him standing under the street light, leaving the house with its cream walls and blue gate, leaving the family that was never meant to be hers. The flat in Surulere felt different when she returned, contaminated. Every surface Chike had touched, every corner where his presence lingered, seemed to pulse with deceit. Their wedding photo on the wall, his smile so genuine, her joy so complete, looks like evidence in a trial. She didn't sleep that night. She sat on the sofa in the dark, her phone buzzing with his calls and messages that she didn't answer. Around 3 a.m., she finally opened her laptop and searched "bigamy in Nigeria." The words glowed on the screen. 7 years imprisonment, void marriage, grounds for divorce. Divorce, the word her mother had whispered with such dread at other people's weddings, as if speaking it out loud might summon its curse. Divorce is not in our family. We endure, we pray, we overcome. But what was there to overcome when the marriage itself was built on sand? At dawn, she called her sister. Ada, it's 5 a.m. What's wrong?
Chike has another wife and children, 2 of them. Silence. Then, I'm coming to Lagos today. Don't do anything until I get there. Chisom arrived by noon, catching the first bus from Enugu, still wearing the dress she'd thrown on in haste. She held Adaeze while she cried, stroked her hair, made tea that meant cold and untouched. Tell me everything. So Adaeze did. Every detail, from Grace's text message to the house in Satellite Town to Chike's calm declaration, "You are still my wife." Chisom's face grew harder with each revelation. That bastard, that complete bastard. What do I do? What do you mean, what do you do? You leave him today. Pack your things and leave. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. Ada, he lied to you for 12 years. He has a whole other family. There's nothing complicated about this. We're married. Are you though? According to Nigerian law, if he was already married when you married him, your marriage might be void. You might not even be legally married. The words hit like a slap. Not married. 12 years reduced to nothing, to legal fiction. What will people say? The question sounded weak even to her own ears, but it was real. In their community, divorce was failure. It was shame. It was the subject of whispered conversations and pitying looks. People will say whatever they want regardless. They always do. But Ada, listen to me. You are brilliant. You have your own job, your own money. You don't have children tying you to him. You can walk away clean. Clean. As if it were possible to emerge from 12 years unscathed. As if he could simply wash off the stain of loving him. Chike's key turned toward. Both women turned toward the door as he entered, still wearing yesterday's clothes, his eyes red-rimmed and desperate. Adaeze, please, let me... He saw Chisom and stopped. Ah, you've called reinforcements. Get out.
This is my house. Is it? Funny, because you have another house in Satellite Town. Maybe you should go there. Chike ignored her, his eyes on Adaeze. Ada, please, let's talk, just us. Adaeze found her voice. There's nothing to talk about. There's everything to talk about. Our marriage, our life together. What marriage? You were already married. You lied to me. You let me think we were building something together when you were just what? Keeping 2 homes? Playing 2 roles? It's not like that. Then what is it like, Chike? Explain it to me. Make me understand how you wake up in my bed, eat my food, make love to me, then go to her and do the same thing. How do you live with yourself? His face crumpled. I love you both.
You love yourself. That's all you love. Your own comfort, your own desires. You don't understand. Then help me understand. The children, do they know about me? He hesitated too long. Grace knows. The boy, Chidi, he's young. I didn't want to confuse him. But Grace knows her father has 2 wives. She understands it's complicated. She's 12. She shouldn't have to understand her father's lies as complicated. Adeze felt something break inside her, a dam giving way to flood. And what about the barrenness? All these years of me thinking I was the problem, was it even me? Or did you know I wasn't the issue because you already had children? The truth was written on his face before he spoke. You knew. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You knew and you let me suffer. Let me go through those tests, those treatments. Let me feel like less of a woman. I couldn't tell you without revealing everything.
So you let me break instead. She walked to their bedroom, pulled out her suitcase from under the bed. Get out, Chike. Ada. Get out! She began throwing clothes into the suitcase, not folding them, not caring. Chisom joined her, moving with purposeful efficiency. Chike watched from the doorway. Where will you go? That's not your concern anymore. Everything about you is my concern. You're my wife. I was never your wife. I was your mistress, your second family, the one you kept secret from your real life. That's not true. Isn't it? Did you tell your family about me? Your mother? Your siblings? His silence was answer enough. They know about Ifeoma. They know about Grace and Chidi, but me, I'm the secret. I'm the one you couldn't claim. She zipped the suitcase closed with finality. I deserve better than to be someone's secret. I can fix this. Just give me time. You've had 12 years. That's enough time. As she walked past him toward the door, he grabbed her arm. Please don't do this. We can work it out. Go for counseling. Talk to the pastor. She pulled away. There is no we, Chike. There never really was. Adaeze moved into a small hotel in Ikeja, unwilling to go home to Enugu and face her parents' questions just yet. She called her mother that evening, keeping her voice steady through force of will. Ada, how are you, my daughter? I'm fine, Mama. The lie sat heavy on her tongue. How is Papa? They talked about nothing. The church harvest, her cousin's upcoming wedding, the price of rice in the market. Normal things in a world that had stopped being normal. Finally, her mother asked, Aunt Chike, when are you people coming home for a visit? Your father wants to see him. Mama, there's something I need to tell you. The silence on the other end was sharp, anticipatory. What is it? Chike, he has another wife and children. What? So she explained again, the words becoming almost mechanical with repetition. Her mother listened without interruption, a bad sign. When Adeze finished, the silence stretched long enough that she thought the call had dropped. Mama, I'm here. Does he deny it? No. And this woman, this other wife, how long? 15 years. He married her before he met me. Another long pause. So, traditional marriage. Yes, but Mama, let me call your father. The phone went dead. Adeze stared at it, her heart sinking. She knew what was coming. The family meeting, the gathering of elders, the careful weighing of tradition against modernity. Her phone rang again an hour later. This time, it was her father. Adeze, Papa, your mother told me this is a serious matter. Yes, Papa. Have you thought about what you want to do? The question surprised her.
She'd expected judgment, lectures about patience and prayer. I want to leave him.
You know, divorce is not something we take lightly in this family. I know, Papa, but let me finish. Divorce is not something we take lightly, but neither is deceit. This man married you under false pretenses. He has violated your trust completely. Tears sprang to her eyes. So you think I should leave? I think that you are a grown woman with a good head on your shoulders. This is your marriage, your life. Your mother and I will support whatever decision you make. But the shame belongs to the person who acts shamefully, not to the victim of their actions. He paused. However, before you make any final decisions, there are things that must be done properly. We must meet with his family, lay out the facts, give them opportunity to speak. Papa, I don't want to. It's not about what you want, my daughter. It's about what is right. If we are to end this marriage, we must do it in a way that protects you legally, socially, financially. We must involve the families, get witnesses to the truth. Otherwise, he will tell his own story, and who knows how he will paint you. The wisdom in this made her want to weep. Even in divorce, there were politics, there were narratives to control, reputations to protect. When? This weekend, I will contact his family. We will meet at our compound. After they hung up, Chisom, who had been listening from the hotel bed, said softly, Papa is right, you know. This has to be done properly. I know. Are you ready to face his family? Adaze thought of Chike's mother, that quiet woman who'd called him all I have. Thought of his siblings she'd met at various family gatherings, who'd welcomed her warmly, who prayed for her womb to open. Thought of the uncles and aunts, the cousins, the vast network of relations who'd fed her, danced with her, claimed her as their own. No, but I'll do it anyway. They gathered on Saturday afternoon in her father's compound in Enugu, a sprawling collection of buildings where 3 generations lived in careful proximity. The meeting took place in the main parlor.
Chairs arranged in a circle, ceiling fan rotating slowly overhead, doing little to cut the tension that thickened the air. Chike arrived with his mother and 2 uncles. He looked haggard, defeated. His mother, Mama Chike, wore full traditional attire, wrapper, blouse and gili, as if dressing formally could lend dignity to an undignified situation. Adeaze's father opened the proceedings with prayer, his voice sonorous and grave. Then he laid out the situation with the precision of a judge reading charges. My daughter has discovered that her husband was already married when he took her hand, that he has maintained 2 families, 2 homes for the entirety of their marriage, that he misled her and by extension misled us. Mama Chike's face remained impassive, but her hands twisted in her wrapper. One of Chike's uncles, Uncle Obi, cleared his throat. With all respect, Papa, are we certain of these allegations? Young people today, they misunderstand things. There is no misunderstanding. I have seen the other house. I have seen the wife and children. Chike has admitted to everything. All eyes turned to Chike. He looked at the floor, then at his mother, then finally at the gathering. It's true. Mama Chike closed her eyes briefly, pain flickering across her features. Then what is there to discuss? This is bigamy. It's a crime in Nigeria. The marriage is void. How can it be void? They have lived as husband and wife for 12 years. They have built a life together. Built on lies.
Please, let us maintain respect. Mama Chike, we understand this is difficult for you as well, but the facts remain. Your son deceived our daughter. The question now is, what do we do about it? Uncle Obi shifted in his seat. In our tradition, a man can have more than one wife. This is not about tradition. He didn't marry me traditionally. He married me in church, before God, making vows of exclusivity. He knew exactly what he was doing. But Ifeoma is also my son's wife. She also has rights. Her children also need their father. And I'm saying what? That they shouldn't have their father? I'm saying that Chike made a choice to deceive me, to let me think I was his only wife when I wasn't. You are his wife. I'm his guilty secret. I'm the one he hid from you. Does Ifeoma know about this meeting? Is she here? Silence.
Of course not, because she's the real wife, the first wife. I'm just the addition he made without her permission or mine. Chike finally spoke, his voice rough. I love you, Ada. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. You hurt me every day for 12 years with your lies. And the worst part is, you thought it was sustainable. You thought you could keep us in separate boxes forever. I thought I could make you both happy. By making us both fools? Love doesn't lie, Chike. Whatever you felt for me, it wasn't love. Mama Chike was crying now, silent tears tracking down her face. Please don't destroy this family. Think of what people will say. Think of the disgrace. The disgrace is already here, Mama. Your son brought it when he chose deception. I'm just refusing to carry his shame. Her father spoke again. Let us be clear about practicalities. My daughter has no children with your son. She has her own job, her own income. She is asking for only what she brought into the marriage, her dignity and her freedom. And the bride price, it must be returned. It will be returned with interest. We want nothing from your family except acknowledgement of the wrong done to ours. The discussion went on for hours. Money, property, public narrative. Through it all, Adaize felt curiously detached, as if watching herself from a distance. This was her life being divided like property, her marriage being reduced to transactions and settlements. Finally, as afternoon became evening, Chike's family agreed to the separation. The marriage would be annulled, Adaize would keep her personal property, the bride price would be returned, and publicly, the story would be that they'd had irreconcilable differences. Lies to cover lies. Perhaps, but Adaize found she didn't care about the public story anymore. Let them say what they wanted. She knew the truth. As the meeting ended and people stood to leave, Mama Chike approached Adaize. The older woman's eyes were red, her face drawn with grief. My daughter, I'm not your daughter anymore, Mama. Please, I want you to know, I didn't know about you. He never told me. Adaize looked at this woman who'd welcomed her so warmly, who'd called her daughter, who'd been kept in the dark by her own son. I believe you, but it doesn't change anything. I know, I'm sorry, for what he did, for the pain you've carried. Thank you. It was all Adaize could offer. As Chike's family left, he lingered at the doorway, looking back at her one last time. She held his gaze, refusing to look away, refusing to give him the satisfaction of her tears. Then he was gone, and the parlor was filled only with her family, her people, the ones who would help her rebuild from the ruins of her marriage. 3 weeks later, Adaize did something she'd sworn she wouldn't do. She went back to Satellite Town. Not to the house, she couldn't face that yet.
Instead, she waited at the primary school Grace attended, sitting in her car as children poured out in their blue and white uniforms, their voices high and bright with freedom. She saw Grace emerge, backpack bouncing, walking with a friend. The girl looked carefree, ordinary, just another child navigating the everyday challenges of pre-adolescence. She didn't look like someone carrying the weight of her father's duplicity. "Grace!" The girl turned. Her expression shifted from curiosity to recognition to wariness. She said something to her friend and walked over to Adaize's car, slowly, as if approaching something potentially dangerous. "Good afternoon, Auntie." "Good afternoon. I'm sorry to ambush you like this. I needed to talk to you."
Grace glanced back toward the school, clearly uncomfortable. "Does Daddy know you are here?" "No, this is just between us." Adeze took a breath. "I wanted to ask you something. When you sent me that text about your father's signature, did you know who I was?" Grace looked down at her shoes. "Yes, Auntie. I thought you were Mommy at first. Then I realized I had the wrong number. Daddy showed us your picture at Christmas. He said you were his other wife in Lagos." His other wife in Lagos. As if she were a branch office of his life. "How do you feel about that?" Adeze asked. "About your father having 2 wives?" The girl shrugged with a studied casualness of someone trying to appear unconcerned. "I don't know. It's normal, I guess. My friend Tolu, her father has 3 wives. But your mother, how does she feel?" Grace's face closed off. "I should go. Mommy will be wondering where I am." "Please, just 1 more minute," Adeze's voice caught. "I need to understand. Did your mother know about me from the beginning?" A long pause. Then Grace nodded slowly. "She knew, but she said it doesn't matter because she's the first wife. She said men do what they want and women just have to manage." The words hit like stones. Women just have to manage. Was that what Ifeoma had told herself all these years? That she had no choice but to accept her husband's double life because that's what women did? "Your mother is very strong," Adeze said quietly. "But Grace, listen to me. You don't have to accept things just because that's how it is. You deserve better. When you grow up, you deserve a man who chooses only you, who doesn't divide himself, who doesn't make you manage his betrayals." Grace looked at her with eyes too old for her face. "Are you leaving Daddy?" "Yes." "Good." The word was fierce, surprising. "Mommy cries sometimes at night. She thinks we don't hear, but we do. She cries because Daddy is always traveling to Lagos, to you. I don't think she likes sharing either, even if she says it's fine." The revelation sat between them, heavy with implications. Ifeoma wasn't a willing first wife accepting polygamy with Grace. She was another woman betrayed, another woman crying in the dark, another woman taught to manage rather than demand better. "Thank you for telling me that," Adeze said quietly. "I'm sorry this is hard on you and your brother." "It's not your fault, Auntie. It's Daddy's." Such clarity from a 12-year-old. Adeze wished she had had that clarity 12 years ago. As Grace walked away, Adeze sat in her car watching the flow of children and parents, the ordinary chaos of school dismissal. She thought about Ifeoma in that house with the cream walls, thought about her crying at night, thought about how they'd both been trapped in the architecture of Chike's selfishness. She started her engine, but instead of heading back to her hotel, she found herself driving toward the house in Satellite Town. Ifeoma answered the door wearing an apron dusted with flour. Behind her, the smell of baking chin-chin filled the air, sweet and familiar. She looked at Adeze without surprise, as if she had been expecting this visit. "So you came?" Her voice was neutral, giving nothing away. "I'm sorry to disturb you. We need to talk." Ifeoma studied her for a long moment, then stepped aside. "Come in." The house was modest but cozy, well lived in. Children's drawings covered one wall. Textbooks were stacked on a side table. A sewing machine sat in the corner with fabric draped over it. This was a home where real life happened, where a woman made do with what she had and tried to build something stable for her children. "Sit," Ifeoma gestured to the sofa. "I'll bring water." While she was in the kitchen, Adeze looked around. There were photos on the wall, a Ifeoma and Chike on their traditional wedding day, both of them young and hopeful. The children as babies, family gatherings, a whole documented life that ran parallel to hers, separate but connected by the man who moved between them. Ifeoma returned with 2 glasses of water and sat across from her. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Ifeoma said, "Grace told me you came to her school." "I did. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have approached her like that." "Why did you?" "I needed to understand. I needed to know if you really accepted this, if you are really okay with sharing him." Ifeoma's laugh was bitter. "Okay with it? Does any woman want to share her husband?" "Then why?" Adeze began. "Why did I accept it?" Ifeoma set down her glass. "Let me ask you something. When Chike told you about me, what did you do?" "I left him." "Because you could." Ifeoma's voice was factual, not accusatory. "You have a good job. You have education. You have no children depending on you. You have options." "And you didn't?" "I married young. I was 19, fresh from secondary school. My parents were happy to marry me off to an engineer, a man with prospects. I got pregnant immediately with Grace." She paused. "By the time Chidi was born, I'd spent 7 years as a housewife. No degree, no skills beyond keeping house and raising children. What was I going to do? Leave and go where? To do what?" The logic was painful but irrefutable. Ifeoma hadn't chosen polygamy out of tradition or acceptance. She had been trapped by economic reality. "So when he told you he wanted to marry someone else," Adeze began, "he didn't ask permission. He told me he was doing it." Ifeoma's jaw tightened. "Said he'd met someone special in Lagos, someone educated, intelligent, someone who could help him rise. He said it wouldn't change things between us, that he'd always be my first wife, that the children would always come first." "But it did," Ifeoma said without heat. "Of course it did." She stood, walked to the window. His time started spending more time in Lagos. His money was divided now. His attention was divided. I became the wife in the village, the one he visited between his important Lagos life. "I didn't know," Adeze whispered. "I swear I had no idea he was already married." Ifeoma believed you. He's good at keeping his world separate, good at making each of us feel like we're the only ones. That's his gift, making lies feel like love. They sat in silence, 2 women connected by betrayal, separated by circumstance. "Your daughter said you cry at night," Adeze said softly. Ifeoma's eyes flashed. "Did you tell her that?" "She did. And she says she thinks you don't really like sharing either."
Smart girl. Ifeoma's voice cracked slightly. Too smart. She sees too much. "So why do you stay?" "For them. For Grace and Chidi." She gestured toward the photos on the wall. "They need their father. They need stability. They need school fees and food and a roof. I can't provide that on my own." "Have you tried to get a job too?" "With what qualifications?" Ifeoma's frustration spilled over. "I'm 40 years old with no degree, no work experience. Who's going to hire me? And even if someone did, who's going to watch my children while I work? I have no family in Lagos, no support system." The trap was complete, elegant in its cruelty. Ifeoma stayed not because she wanted to, but because Chike's choices had left her no viable alternative. "I'm sorry," Adeze said, "for being part of this, for not knowing." "You didn't make him lie," Ifeoma returned to her seat. "He did that himself. He's the one who built this house of cards. A house that's collapsing now." "Yes," Ifeoma looked tired, bone deep weary. "He told me you're leaving him, that your family returns the bride price." "Does that make you happy, that I'm leaving?" "It makes me sad," Ifeoma said quietly. "Because you can leave and I can't. Because you have choices and I don't. Because we're both victims of the same man, but only one of us can escape." The truth of it settled between them. They weren't enemies. They were 2 women caught in the same trap, one with keys and one without. "What if," Adeze said slowly, an idea forming, "what if I helped you get keys too?" "What do you mean?" "I mean, what if I helped you go to school, get training, build something for yourself so you're not dependent on him?" Ifeoma stared at her. "Why would you do that?" "Because we're not enemies. Because you deserve better. Because your daughter is watching, learning what women accept.
Adieze leaned forward. And because the best revenge against a man who tried to keep us both trapped is to free ourselves. For the first time, something like hope flickered in Ifeoma's eyes. I don't know. Think about it. You're 40, not dead. You could go to school, learn a trade, start a business. You have skills. I can smell your chin-chin from here, and if it tastes as good as it smells, you could sell them. You sew, you manage a household. These are marketable skills. Chike would never agree. Who says he needs to agree? Let him pay child support, let him contribute to their school fees, but build something that's yours, that he can't take away. Adieze felt urgency building. Don't you want your daughter to see you as strong, independent? Don't you want to show her that women have choices? Ifeoma's eyes glistened. I've forgotten how to dream. Then remember, for yourself, for Grace and Chidi. Adieze stood. I'm leaving him, Ifeoma, but I don't have to leave you drowning. Let me help you build a life raft. Ifeoma covered her face with her hands. When she lowered them, tears tracked down her cheeks. Why are you being kind to me? Because kindness is free, and because we women have to look out for each other, especially when men fail us. They talked for another hour about practical things like training programs, small business loans, childcare options, about dreams Ifeoma had buried so deep she'd almost forgotten them, about the possibility of a future that wasn't just endurance but actual living. When Adieze finally left, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of amber and possibility. She didn't know if Ifeoma would take her up on the offer, but she'd extended it, had created an opening where before there had been only walls. 6 months later, Adieze stood in her new apartment in Ikeja, smaller than the Soreliri flat, but entirely hers. She'd signed the lease herself, furnished it with her own choices, painted the walls a soft yellow that made her smile every morning. She'd also quietly filed for divorce. The process was grinding and bureaucratic, but her uncle, lawyer, was guiding her through it. The marriage would be officially dissolved within the year. Her phone buzzed with a message. It was Ifeoma. Auntie Ade, I passed my JAMB. I got admission to study business education at LASU evening classes. Thank you for everything. Adieze smiled, warmth flooding her chest. After their conversation, she'd helped Ifeoma register for JAM coaching, had paid for her exams, had connected her with a cooperative of women entrepreneurs who bought her chin-chin in bulk. Small steps, but each one leading Ifeoma toward independence. Chike had been furious when he found out, had called Adieze a troublemaker, a destroyer of homes. She'd listened to his rage with a calm she didn't know she possessed, then told him simply, I'm not destroying our home, Chike. I'm building my own and helping Ifeoma build her own. What you do with yours is your choice. He was quieter after that, perhaps realizing that he no longer controlled the narrative. She looked around her apartment, at the books on her shelves, at the plants she was learning to keep alive, at the space that was wholly, completely hers. No secrets hiding in corners, no lies built into the foundation. Her mother called. Ade, have you eaten? Yes, Mama. Good. Listen, I've been thinking, your cousin Adana is having trouble with mathematics. Could you tutor her on weekends? Of course, Mama. And Ade, her mother's voice softened, your father and I were proud of you for being brave, for choosing yourself. The words squeezed her heart. Thank you, Mama. After they hung up, Adieze walked to her window and looked out at Lagos spread below her. Chaotic, beautiful, impossible Lagos, the city where she lost a marriage and found herself. There was an Igbo proverb her grandmother used to say, Onye wetara oji, wetara ndu. One who brings kola brings life. Chike had brought her betrayal, but from that betrayal, she found life. Real life, authentic life, life built on truth rather than lies. She didn't know what the future held. Maybe she'd meet someone new someday, someone honest. Maybe she wouldn't. Maybe she'd remain single, build a life rich with friendships and work and purpose. Maybe she'd adopt children, give love without needing a husband to legitimize it. The possibilities stretched before her like roads on a map, and for the first time in 12 years, she was free to choose her own direction. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Chisom.
Movie night this Friday. My place. Bring wine. I'll be there, she typed back. As the sun set over Lagos, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples, Adaize felt something unfamiliar settle in her chest. It took her a moment to recognize it. Peace. 2 years later. The woman who walked into Graceland Secondary School on registration day carried herself with quiet confidence. Ifeoma Okafor, now pursuing her NCE in business education while running a thriving catering business, had come to enroll her son Chidi in GSS 1. "Mommy, this school is big, oh," Chidi said, eyes wide as he looked around. "Yes, my son, you like it here." Ifeoma smiled at him, squeezed his shoulder. "Mrs. Okafor?" Ifeoma turned to see a familiar face. Adaize, clipboard in hand, wearing the slightly harassed expression of a teacher during registration week. "Miss Adaize," Ifeoma's face lit up. They embraced briefly, warmly. "You are enrolling Chidi here?" Adaize asked. "Yes, I heard you speak so well of this school, and the fees are manageable with my business." "Your business is doing well?" "Very well. We're catering for 3 restaurants now, and I just hired 2 women to help." Pride rang in her voice. "Grace wants to study medicine. Can you imagine? My daughter, a doctor." "She's brilliant. She'll nick it." Adaize glanced at her clipboard. "Let me help you with the registration. Come to my office." As they walked through the school corridors, Chidi running ahead to peek into classrooms, Ifeoma said quietly, "Thank you for everything, for seeing me more than just what I was. You were never just anything. You were always enough. You just needed to remember." They smiled at each other, 2 women who'd been connected by betrayal and had chosen connection over enmity, who'd transformed pain into power, who'd refused to let one man's lies define their worth. In the staff room later, Mrs. Nkonko asked Adaize, "That woman, wasn't she your husband's other wife?" "Ex-husband," Adaize corrected mildly. "And yes, now she's my friend." Mrs. Nkonko shook her head in wonder. "Modern times. I don't understand young people." Adaize laughed. "It's simple, really. We decided that women should build each other up, not tear each other down, that the person who betrayed us wasn't worth our enmity, that we deserved better, both of us." "And the husband?" "Sorry, ex-husband. Still living in Surulere, last I heard. Alone." Adaize shrugged. "He made his choices. Now he lives with them." As for Adaize, she'd made her choice too. She'd walked away from lies and towards truth, from betrayal towards dignity, from a marriage that diminished her towards a life that expanded her. She'd chosen herself, and in doing so had found not loneliness but freedom. Her grandmother's voice echoed in her memory, another proverb, "Ife kulu, ife akudebe ya, what stands will stand." Adaize had fallen, but she'd stood again, stronger, wiser, free. And that, she thought, as she turned back to the mountain of registration forms on her desk, she thought was more than enough. This story teaches us that betrayal, no matter how it is dressed in tradition or justified by culture, is still betrayal. A woman's worth is not determined by her marital status or her ability to bear children. True strength lies not in enduring mistreatment, but in having the courage to walk away from what diminishes you. It also reminds us that women need not be enemies because a man's choices. Adaize and Ifeoma could have become rivals, but instead they chose solidarity. They understood that the person who betrayed them was the one deserving of their anger, not each other. Most importantly, this tale shows us that it's never too late to reclaim your dignity, to choose yourself, and to build a life based on truth rather than lies. Whether you stay or leave, the choice must be yours, made from a position of strength, not desperation. Coming next. What happens when a successful businesswoman discovers her husband's secret family isn't in another city but in the same neighborhood? When the other wife is her daughter's teacher? When everything she thought she knew about her perfect marriage unravels in the school parking lot? Stay tuned for our next story, The Teacher's Secret. If this story touched your heart, moved you, or made you think, please like this video. Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Your story might help someone else going through a similar situation. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more authentic African stories that explore love, betrayal, tradition, and the strength of the human spirit. Remember, your worth is not determined by someone else's ability to see it. Choose yourself, always. Until next time, stay strong, stay blessed.